The sun was setting behind the tall glass buildings of the city. People were rushing home, but inside one of those shining towers, Mr. Adrian Cole, the youngest and most successful CEO in the city, was still working. He was known for his cold heart and sharp mind. Everyone in his office feared him. He never smiled. He never cared about emotions, only numbers, deals, success. Outside his company's big glass doors, a small girl stood holding a teddy bear. Her clothes were simple, her shoes a little dirty, but her eyes were full of courage. Her name was Lily, only 7 years old. She had been waiting there for more than an hour, hoping to meet someone very special, the man she believed could make her mother happy again. Inside the office, Adrian closed his laptop. His assistant, Ms. Parker, knocked and entered. "Sir, there's a little girl outside asking to see you," she said softly. Adrian frowned. "A child? Here. What does she want?" "She says it's important. She's been waiting for you." With a sigh, Adrian stood up. "Fine. Send her in. But make it quick." When Lily entered the big office, she looked so small compared to the huge desk and the tall man in front of her. Adrian looked at her with confusion. "Who sent you here?" he asked coldly. Lily clutched her teddy bear tighter. "No one, sir. I came by myself." Adrian raised an eyebrow. "You came alone? Do your parents know where you are?" Her voice trembled. "I only have Mommy. And she doesn't know I'm here." For the first time, something flickered in Adrian's eyes. Maybe surprise, maybe curiosity. "What do you want from me?" he asked, trying to sound bored. Lily looked up at him with big, tearful eyes. "Sir, please. Will you marry my mommy?" The room fell silent. Even Ms. Parker froze by the door. Adrian stared at the little girl as if she had spoken another language. "Excuse me?" he said slowly. Lily nodded quickly. "Please, sir. She's very lonely. She works all day and cries at night. You look rich and kind. You can make her smile again." Adrian leaned back in his chair, shocked. He didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken to him like that, especially not a child. He cleared his throat. "And who told you I am kind?" Lily smiled softly. "My teacher showed me your picture in a newspaper. You were helping an orphanage once. You looked kind then." Adrian didn't remember that day. It was just for a business photo shoot. But hearing those innocent words made something move deep inside his heart, something he hadn't felt in years. He stood up and walked closer to her. "What's your mother's name?" "Emma," Lily whispered. "Emma Hayes. She works at the small cafe across the street. She makes the best coffee, but no one knows how sad she is." Adrian turned to the window and saw the cafe lights glowing faintly. He had gone there many times, always in a hurry, never noticing who served him. Could it be the same woman? Before he could ask more, Lily stepped forward and gently placed her teddy bear on his desk. "You can keep this until you decide," she said with a small smile. "It's my lucky bear. Maybe it will make you smile too." Adrian looked at the toy in silence. His chest felt tight. He wanted to say something, maybe to tell her to go home, maybe to ask more. But before he could speak, Ms. Parker entered again. "Sir, your car is ready," she said. When Adrian turned back, Lily was already gone. Only the small teddy bear remained on his desk. That night, for the first time in many years, Adrian couldn't sleep. The face of that little girl kept appearing in his mind, her words echoing over and over. "Please, sir. Marry my mommy. She's very lonely." And somewhere deep inside his cold heart, a tiny spark of warmth began to grow, a feeling he didn't understand yet. The next morning, Adrian Cole sat by his large window, staring at the small teddy bear the little girl had left behind. The sun was bright, but his thoughts were darker than usual. For years, Adrian had lived like a machine. Work, money, meetings, success. But now, the voice of a child kept echoing in his mind. "Please, sir. Marry my mommy. She's very lonely." Couldn't stop thinking about that cafe across the street. He had been there many times, always too busy to notice who served him. Could it really be that woman, Emma Hayes? That afternoon, Adrian decided to visit the cafe himself. He wore simple clothes, hoping not to attract attention. When he entered, the smell of fresh coffee filled the air. The place was warm and cozy, nothing like his cold glass office. Behind the counter, a woman was working quietly. Her brown hair was tied back, and though her face looked tired, she had a soft, kind smile. She served each customer with care, her voice gentle. Adrian watched her for a moment. She didn't notice him. When it was finally his turn, she looked up. Their eyes met. "Good afternoon, sir. What would you like?" she asked politely, her voice. It was calm, warm, and strangely familiar. Adrian hesitated. "A black coffee, please." She smiled faintly. Coming right up, she moved. He noticed her hands trembled slightly, maybe from exhaustion. There was something fragile about her, something real. When she handed him the cup, their fingers brushed for a second. She quickly looked away. "You've been working here long?" Adrian asked. She nodded. "Almost for years. It's not much, but it helps me take care of my daughter." "Your daughter?" "Yes, Lily." She smiled gently, though her eyes carried sadness. "She's my world. Sometimes she surprises me with the things she does. She has such a big heart." Adrian's chest tightened. So, this was her. The mother of that brave little girl? He wanted to tell her that Lily had come to see him, that she had begged him to marry her mother, but something stopped him. He didn't want to shock her, not yet. Instead, he simply said, "Your daughter's lucky to have you." Emma laughed softly. "No, sir. I'm lucky to have her. She's the reason I wake up every morning." Adrian nodded slowly. He stayed longer than he planned, watching how Emma worked, how she smiled even when tired, how she treated everyone with kindness. There was a gentle strength in her, something he hadn't seen in years. When he left, the cafe door chimed softly. Emma watched him go, wondering who he was. There was something familiar about his face, calm yet powerful. But she pushed the thought away and returned to work. Later that evening, Lily came running into the cafe, excited. "Mommy, you won't believe it! I met a nice man yesterday." Emma frowned, worried. "Lily, what are you talking about? The man from the tall building? The one in the newspaper?" Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Lily, you didn't go there alone, did you?" Lily looked down. "I just wanted to help you, Mommy. You're always sad. I thought maybe he could make you smile again." Shh. Emma felt tears rise in her eyes. She knelt down and hugged her daughter tightly. "Oh, sweetheart, you must never do that again. It's dangerous." "Sorry," Lily whispered, "but he was kind. I think he liked you, Mommy." Emma smiled weakly, brushing away a tear. "Oh, Lily, don't say such things." But deep inside, something strange stirred, curiosity mixed with fear. Who was that man really? Meanwhile, in his luxury penthouse, Adrian sat again with the teddy bear. He couldn't stop picturing Emma's gentle eyes. There was a warmth in them that reminded him of something he had long forgotten. What it meant to be human. He picked up his phone and called his assistant. "Miss Parker," he said quietly, "find out everything you can about Emma Hayes, the woman working at the cafe across the street." Miss Parker was surprised but obeyed. "Right away, sir." As the call ended, Adrian looked out over the glittering city. For the first time, success didn't feel enough. His heart, the one he thought was frozen, had begun to thaw, and he didn't even realize that this was just the beginning of something that would change all three of their lives forever. The next morning, the city buzzed as usual, but for Adrian Cole, something had changed. His assistant, Miss Parker, walked into his office holding a file. "Sir, I found the information you asked for," she said, handing it over carefully. Adrian opened it. Inside were simple details. Emma Hayes, 29 years old, widow, one daughter, Lily Hayes, works at Calf Bloom. Monthly salary, modest. Rent, delayed twice. Medical bills, unpaid. He frowned. "She's struggling." "Yes, sir," Miss Parker replied softly. "But the neighbors say she never complains. She helps others, even when she has nothing herself." Adrian said nothing. He closed the file and looked out of the tall window. For a man who had everything, money, power, and respect, he suddenly felt small. That afternoon, without telling anyone, Adrian visited the cafe again. He sat at his usual spot in the corner, quietly observing. Emma was serving customers, tired yet graceful. When she saw him, she smiled politely. "Oh, it's you again," she said warmly. "Another black coffee?" He nodded. "Yes, and maybe a slice of that chocolate cake." Emma laughed softly. "It's our best one." "Good choice." When she brought his order, Adrian noticed the small scar near her wrist. Old, faint, but visible. "What happened there?" he asked gently. "Oh," she smiled sadly. "An accident years ago. My husband. He passed away that night." Adrian paused, unsure what to say. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. Emma nodded, eyes distant. "Life is strange, isn't it? One day you're happy, the next day everything changes. But I had to stay strong for Lily. She thinks I'm her superhero."
Adrian's heart softened.
"Maybe you are," he murmured. That evening, after leaving the cafe, Adrian called Ms. Parker again. "Find out who owns Calf Bloom," he said, "and make sure Emma's salary is increased. Quietly, she must not know it's from me." Ms. Parker hesitated. "Sir, may I ask why?" Adrian replied simply, "Because sometimes people deserve kindness." Without a reason. The next week, Emma noticed a letter in her paycheck. It said the cafe had received a new investor, and staff salaries were increased by 25%. She was shocked, but grateful. "Maybe luck finally found us, Lily," she said with a smile. Lily giggled. "Maybe it's that man you met, Mommy." Emma shook her head, laughing. "Oh, Lily, you and your imagination." But deep down, something told her it wasn't just luck. Days turned into weeks. Adrian visited the cafe often. He became a familiar face. Sometimes he worked quietly on his laptop there. Sometimes he just listened to the soft music and watched Emma move around with calm grace. One rainy evening, the cafe was almost empty. Adrian sat by the window, sipping coffee. Emma came over, drying her hands on her apron. "Do you always work this late?" she asked kindly. He smiled faintly. "Old habit. Work keeps me from thinking too much." Emma nodded. "Same here. Sometimes working helps me forget how lonely I am." Her voice cracked slightly. Adrian looked at her for a long moment. "You don't seem lonely." She laughed softly. "That's the trick, isn't it? Smile enough, and people stop asking questions." Silence filled the space between them. Outside, thunder rumbled softly. For the first time, Adrian saw not just a woman, but a heart full of quiet strength and hidden pain. When he left that night, stood in the rain for a while, watching her lock the cafe doors, something in him whispered, "Protect her." Later, as Emma walked home with Lily, a black car stopped quietly behind them. A man stepped out and handed Emma a folded umbrella. "Someone asked me to give you this," he said politely before leaving. Emma looked at the umbrella. It was brand new, elegant, and inside there was a small note. "No one deserves to walk alone in the rain." "A friend," she smiled faintly, heart fluttering. "Who could it be?" she whispered. Lily grinned. "I told you, Mommy, maybe it's him." That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She thought about the stranger who visited her cafe. The man with kind eyes behind a serious face and across the city. In his tall penthouse, Adrian held the same teddy bear, whispering to himself, "I don't know why I care, but I do." It was no longer pity. It was something deeper, something new. And as the city slept, fate quietly began weaving their lives together in ways neither of them could imagine. Asterisk, a soft breeze moved through the city as autumn arrived. The cafe across the street from Coal Enterprises looked the same, yet something inside had quietly changed. Since the mysterious friend began leaving small acts of kindness, Emma Hayes's days felt a little brighter. Her bills were suddenly easier to pay. The cafe got a new coffee machine. And even Lily's school fee was cleared. Emma often wondered who was helping her. But she had no clue that the man responsible, the cold-hearted CEO. Adrian Cole was watching over her silently. Every morning, Adrian's car stopped near the cafe. He would sit there for a moment, pretending to check his phone, only to see Emma smiling at customers through the window. There was something peaceful in that small world of hers, peace he had never known. At the office, Miss Parker noticed the change in her boss. "Sir, you've been distracted lately," she said one afternoon. Adrian looked up from his laptop. "I'm fine." "With respect, sir, you keep staring out the window instead of your reports." Adrian smiled faintly. "Maybe I found something more interesting than numbers." That evening, he went to the cafe again. It was crowded, laughter echoing through the place. Emma was busy serving tables when Lily ran up to Adrian with bright eyes. "Oh, it's you, mister," she said cheerfully. "Mommy says you like our coffee." Adrian knelt down. "Yes, it's the best coffee I've ever had," Lily giggled. "Mommy made it with love. She says love makes everything better." Emma turned red when she saw them talking. "Lily, don't disturb the customer." "It's all right," Adrian said gently. "She's a smart girl." After closing time, Emma thanked him for being patient. "You must think she talks too much," she said with a shy smile. "Not at all," Adrian replied. "It's rare to meet someone so honest." Their eyes met for a second too long. Neither spoke, but something unspoken passed between them, warm, quiet, and real. The next day, a heavy rainstorm hit the city. Roads flooded, and most customers stayed home. The cafe remained open, though almost empty. Adrian, returning from a late meeting, saw the lights still on. Without thinking, he stopped his car and stepped inside, water dripping from his coat. Emma looked up, surprised. "You came in this weather?" He nodded. "Coffee tastes better on rainy nights." She laughed softly. "Then you're lucky I just brewed a fresh pot." They sat across from each other, the thunder rumbling outside. For the first time, they really talked. Adrian told her about his mother who died when he was young, about how he built his empire to hide the emptiness inside. Emma listened quietly, her eyes full of understanding. When she spoke, her voice was gentle. "You know, money builds walls, but sometimes people just need a door to walk through." Adrian looked at her, puzzled. "A door." She smiled. A way to feel again. Something inside him shifted that moment. Her words were simple, but they hit deep. As the rain grew stronger, Emma realized it was too dangerous for him to leave. "You should stay until the storm slows down," she said kindly. "It's late anyway." He hesitated, then nodded. "All right." Lily was already asleep on the small sofa at the back. Adrian watched the little girl's peaceful face. "She looks like she's dreaming of stars," he whispered. Emma smiled. "She dreams of her father. She thinks he's watching us from above." Adrian looked away, feeling a strange ache in his chest. For years, no one had made him feel human. Yet, in this tiny cafe with two strangers, he felt something like home. When the rain finally stopped, Emma handed him the same umbrella he once sent. "Looks like it found its owner," she said playfully. Adrian smiled for the first time, a real, soft smile. "Maybe it belongs to both of us now." He stepped into the quiet night, his heart lighter than it had been in years. Behind him, Emma closed the cafe door, her hand resting on her chest. Neither of them knew that their quiet friendship was about to face a storm far stronger than rain. One that would test trust, reveal secrets, and change everything they believed about love and fate. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Adrian, Emma, and Lily slowly grew stronger. Adrian visited the cafe almost every evening. Sometimes he helped carry supplies. Sometimes he just listened to Emma talk about her day. Lily adored him. She began calling him Uncle Adrian, and he didn't mind at all. For the first time in years, Adrian's heart felt warm. He laughed again, smiled again, and found himself looking forward to every sunset, because it meant he could see them. But happiness never stays hidden for long. One cold morning, Ms. Parker entered Adrian's office with a worried face. "Sir, there's something you should know," she said quietly. "A journalist has been asking questions about your recent donations." Adrian frowned. "What kind of questions?" "They found out you secretly invested in Calf Bloom," They think you're hiding something or someone. Adrian sighed heavily. Let them talk. I don't care. But Miss Parker hesitated. Sir, what if Miss Hayes finds out? She might feel deceived. The thought hit him like ice. Emma didn't know he was the one behind her blessings, the higher salary, repaired cafe machines, the help with Lily's school. He wanted to protect her pride, not hurt it. That night, decided to tell her the truth himself, before someone else did. When he entered the cafe, it was quieter than usual. Emma was cleaning tables while Lily colored in her notebook. Adrian walked up gently. Emma, can we talk? She smiled warmly. Of course. Is something wrong? He looked nervous for the first time. There's something I need to tell you. I should have told you earlier. Emma frowned slightly. You look serious, Adrian. What is it? He took a deep breath. The cafe's new investor. It's me. Silence. The sound of the clock ticking grew louder. Emma froze. You. Yes. I didn't mean to deceive you. I just wanted to help. You were struggling, and her expression changed from shock to hurt. So all this time you were watching me, controlling my life like some project. No, Emma, it wasn't like that, he said quickly. I only wanted to make things easier for you and Lily. Tears filled her eyes. You think I needed your money? I needed honesty, Adrian. Trust. You had no right to make decisions for me. Adrian stepped closer, voice soft. I never wanted to embarrass you. You're the first person who made me feel, don't. She interrupted, her voice breaking. Don't say those words now. Lily looked up from the corner, confused. Mommy? What's wrong? Emma wiped her tears quickly and turned to her daughter. Nothing, sweetheart. Go get your bag. We're going home. Adrian stood helpless, watching the only warmth in his life slip away. Emma, please, just listen. But she was already walking out into the night, holding Lily's hand. That night, rain began to fall again, the same way it had when they first talked deeply. But this time, Emma didn't look back. Inside his apartment, Adrian stared at the window. The city lights blurred by raindrops. He picked up the teddy bear Lily had once given him and whispered, I only wanted to make you both happy. Why does it hurt this much? The next morning, Emma didn't open the cafe. She took a day off, her first in months. Sitting by the window, she watched Lily draw hearts and stars. Mommy, Lily said softly, why are you sad? Emma smiled faintly. Sometimes even kind people make mistakes. Do you still like Mr. Adrian? Emma's eyes filled again. I don't know, Lily. I don't know what to feel. But deep down, she missed him. His calm voice, his quiet kindness, his gentle eyes. She hated herself for missing someone who had hidden the truth. Meanwhile, at his office, Adrian signed papers, but his mind was far away. For the first time, success felt empty again. He realized something important. Helping someone wasn't about money. It was about being honest, even when it hurt. He made a silent promise. He would fix what he broke, no matter what it cost. And as the rain cleared, a soft light broke through the clouds, a sign that maybe, just maybe, there was still a chance to heal what had been hurt. But neither of them knew. Another secret was about to come to light, one that could bring them back together or tear them apart forever. A week had passed since that painful night. The cafe doors remained half closed, the chairs stacked, and the open sign turned away from the street. For Emma Hayes, every cup of coffee now tasted bitter. She missed the quiet laughter that had slowly filled her days. She missed the man who had looked at her like she mattered. But pride and hurt were stronger than longing. Across the city, Adrian Cole was no longer the calm, confident CEO everyone admired. His desk was full of untouched papers, meetings postponed. Even Ms. Parker noticed. Sir, she said carefully, you haven't been yourself. Maybe you should go see her. Adrian sighed. I lost her trust, Parker. And once you lose that, nothing feels right anymore. Ms. Parker hesitated. Maybe she deserves the truth, sir. The whole truth. Not just about the cafe, but about the accident. Adrian froze. You mean her husband? Miss Parker nodded. Yes. You never told her that the company's truck that night belonged to Cole Enterprises. You paid the damages quietly. She never knew it was you. The words hit him like lightning. He had spent years avoiding that truth, trying to bury it under good deeds. But fate had brought him face to face with the very woman he'd unknowingly hurt. He stood up, determination in his eyes. It's time she knows everything. That evening, as the golden sunset washed over the street, Emma was cleaning the counter when the bell above the cafe door rang softly. She looked up and froze. Adrian stood there, drenched from rain again, holding the old teddy bear. Her hands trembled. Why are you here? I owe you the truth, he said quietly. Please, just 5 minutes. Emma hesitated, but something in his voice made her nod. Adrian placed the teddy bear on the counter and spoke, his voice heavy. Years ago, the night your husband died, it was my company's truck. The driver lost control after a late delivery. I paid for everything but never had the courage to face the family. When I met you, I didn't know who you were. But when I found out, I couldn't walk away. Tears welled in Emma's eyes. She took a step back. You were part of that night. Yes, he whispered. It was my fault. That's why I helped you. Not for pity, but because I needed to make it right. Emma's breath caught. The pain of the past came rushing back. But so did the memory of his kindness, every quiet act, every gentle smile. She turned away, tears falling. You should have told me from the start. I was afraid, Adrian said, voice breaking. Afraid you'd hate me? And I thought I could fix things with money, but now I understand all you ever needed was honesty. Lily, who had been listening quietly from the back, walked up and tugged Emma's sleeve. Mommy, she whispered, he told the truth now. Doesn't that mean he's sorry? Emma knelt down, her heart breaking at her daughter's innocence. She looked at Adrian, a man who had everything yet stood before her with nothing but guilt and love. Adrian took a deep breath and knelt too, his voice shaking. Lily, I can't change the past. But I can promise one thing. I'll spend every day making your mommy smile again, if she'll let me. The cafe fell silent except for the sound of rain. Emma stared at him for a long moment. Her heart wanted to forgive, but her mind still hurt. Then Lily reached out her tiny hand, placing it on both of theirs. Mommy, he's lonely too, she said softly. Maybe you can both stop being lonely together. Emma's tears finally turned into a trembling smile. She looked at Adrian. You're impossible, you know that? He smiled weakly. I've been told. She laughed through tears. Fine. Coffee first. We'll see about forever later. Adrian's heart lifted for the first time in years. He took her hand gently. Coffee sounds perfect. The rain slowed. The three of them sat by the window, a mother, a daughter, and a man who had finally learned what love truly meant. Outside, the city lights shimmered, and inside, warmth filled the room. The same teddy bear sat between them, a silent witness to pain, forgiveness, and new beginnings. And somewhere deep inside their hearts, a quiet promise bloomed. Sometimes, love doesn't come to erase the past. It comes to heal it.